What's going on, guys? It's Jeff for Mad Hatter's Reef, and today we're talking about water changes. What's going on, guys? We're back with another video, and if you're new to what we're doing here, this is where I talk about everything reef tank related. So if you love reef tanks like I do, gently press that subscribe button in the face. What's up, guys? We're back, and today we're going to talk about water changes, more specifically how I've been doing water changes over the last couple of months. And the reason that I wanted to do this video today is because I'm actually going to be changing how I'm going to be doing water changes. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to take a look at how I am doing water changes currently. Alright, guys, so when you're talking about water changes, one of the first things that you need to consider is your source water. Now, there's a lot of different RO filters out on the market. This happens to be the one that I am using currently. This is the Vortec Puritech, and this guy comes with all the bells and whistles. I actually did a review for Premium Aquatics on this RO system and loved it so much that I had to buy it for myself. And I'll be sure to leave a link in the description below if you want to take a look at that unboxing and setup. For those of us that don't know what an RO filter is, basically you have your source water, goes into the filter, then it goes into this first chamber. This first chamber removes a lot of metals and other particulars out of the water. You can see that the coloration of the filter is kind of a little brownish right now. That means it's doing its job. Once it leaves this chamber, it then goes into the pump, which the pump forces it through the next chamber, and this is a carbon block, which is going to again remove some of the impurities out of the water. From here, it then goes up into the RO membrane. So this right here is your RO membrane, this white tube, and water then either gets rejected, passes out this blue tubing. So once it passes through your membrane, it then comes into this chamber, and this chamber right here is DI resin. DI resin is like little beads that are positively and negatively charged that will actually collect even more stuff out of the water and capture it and not let it pass through. And then from there, it comes out your DI resin chamber and goes into this tube, which is going to lead into a food grade bucket of some sort that you're either using for top off, water changes, what have you. So that is a brief look at a RO filter. Let's jump into how I am currently doing water changes. Okay, so this is what I'm currently using for water changes, and I tend to fluctuate between this smaller container, which is a 20-gallon brute, and I believe it's a 44-gallon. I bounce between the 44-gallon and the 20-gallon. I've recently gone back to the 20-gallon. I'm doing smaller water changes more often, and as for me, more often currently is once a week. The idea behind a water change, it's going to do a couple things for you. The first thing that a water change is going to do for you, it's going to take pollutants out of the tank. So your fish pee, poop, and the water gets junked up, algae starts to grow. When it comes down to it, doing a water change is going to improve your water quality. What I have been running at as far as nitrates in my tank, or NO3, I am about 5 parts per million. Before going to water changes on the weekly schedule and using biopellets, my nitrates were running at around 15 parts per million. Going to a weekly water change, a smaller, more frequent water change, I have reduced nitrates in my system along with the use of biopellet. And if you guys are interested in biopellets, I'll be doing a video in the next couple of weeks on that. So you can, currently I'm using this 20-gallon bucket. I have a power head inside mixing the water, and I've kind of gotten away from using a heater in there. I really should have a heater in there to get that water to the 78 degrees. Currently, I've just been throwing a pump in here, putting in salt, and the salt that I've been using as of late is Reef crystals. What I'll do the night before a water change is I'll hook up my RO system. I will put about probably up until, actually you can kind of see the water mark, put it to right about there, the water, which is about 17 gallons, 18 gallons, and I put about 18 scoops of the Reef crystals in there and let it sit overnight. I don't ever mix salt water and then automatically put it in the tank. It's a bad deal. You want to make sure that that water has time to cook, so to speak, has time to make sure that the Reef crystals or your salt mix completely break down before adding it to your display tank, because it can cause a lot of problems otherwise. I'm currently only using a power head, but I really should have a heater in there as well. But as of late, this is how I've been doing it. Summertime, it's not necessarily as big of a deal. Definitely with hotter days like today, if you can hear my AC running in the background, it's not a bad thing to cool the tank down a little bit. But in the winter time, not a great idea. It's probably better to have a heater in there. Now, before we jump into these containers and what I use them for, the next step in preparing for a water change is shutting down equipment. I have a Neptune Systems Apex, and basically what I do with my Neptune Systems Apex is I'll go through and I'll shut off my return pump. Actually, the first thing that I'll shut off is my skimmer, because when I shut off my return pump, X amount of water drains from the display tank down into the sump, and then that can cause problems with the skimmer. So the first thing I shut off is my skimmer, so let's go ahead and do that. So my skimmer is shut off. Now, the tricky part with this is, and I don't have it hooked up to this, my auto top off, I don't have connected to my Apex, so I actually have to unplug it by hand, because when that water drains from the display tank down to the sump, it's going to set off the float valve, which will create the alarm. So after I shut off my skimmer and my ATO, the next thing I shut off is my return pump. Now, you can hear, actually I don't know if you guys can hear it or not, but the auto top off is now screaming at me, so I'm going to go ahead and shut that off. Alright, so my skimmer shut off, my return pump shut off, and as I start to remove water, I'll start shutting off pumps. The first one that I'm going to actually will shut off is the top left wave, because that's right on the surface, and I'll leave these other ones to actually the top. The right wave now is pretty close to the surface as well. Those shut off, and I'll leave the other pumps going because obviously the display tank still needs some circulation. I have 2 of these barrels, and then I have the hose, and what I do is I want to take as much of the water out of display tank, and the reason being is what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean my glass. I want it to stay in the display tank, and when I add water back to the system, I add it with that inline pump that I've shown you guys a couple times now, from the barrel to the sump, and then I turn on the return pump and it starts filling up the display tank again. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up my glass, and then we're going to get a water change going. So cleaning the glass is nothing special. I use my Flipper Max to get the parts of the tank that I can reach, and for the parts that I can't reach, I have this old school blade that I run on the back glass of the tank. As you can see, it's kicking up a ton of debris. I need to do a little bit better job of cleaning that back wall a little more often. Then I start my siphon, have the siphon running into the white barrels, and I run the barrels to the bathroom every 5 gallons. Once I have what I think is going to equal what I have in the barrel out of the tank, it's time to set up the barrel and have that water pumping back into the sump. And one major step to doing a water change is testing your salinity in your water that you are putting into your tank, as well as the water in your tank. So the next step, I'm going to unplug the power head that's in there, and then I've already started soaking the Cobalt inline pump. And what I'm going to do is I will take the outfeed of the inline pump, put it into my sump, start up my return pump, and it'll start filling up the display tank. And as the water level rises in the display tank, I'm going to go ahead and continue to turn on pumps that I shut off during the water change. And that's a wrap on the water change. We got the water out of the barrel into the tank. The protein skimmer is running again. I'm going to wash this barrel out. I still have some debris floating around from cleaning the glass, but I'm not too worried about that. And for the most part, this is how I've been conducting water changes. Now I'm going to be changing how I've been doing this very, very soon, and I'm going to get a little bit more automated, but that's for another video for another time. And that's a wrap on how I've been conducting water changes most recently. Alright guys, so that's a wrap on how I am currently doing water changes. Now what we're going to do is jump into our random YouTube comment selector type thing, so we can award a subscriber of Mad Hatter's Reef with a $25 gift certificate to Premium Aquatics. Bobby, you have won yourself a $25 gift certificate to Premium Aquatics. Make sure to reach out to me via Messenger on Facebook. Congratulations to the winner of the $25 gift certificate to Premium Aquatics, and all you need to do to enter is be a subscriber of Mad Hatter's Reef. Hit the like button on this video and leave a comment down below. Next week we'll do a drawing and you might win yourself a $25 gift certificate to Premium Aquatics. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. I want to appreciate you. I want to thank you for all that you do, and I will see you next time right here with a brand new video.